fellow degens. Welcome to the PayTheMan podcast. Spoiler alert. We provide the worst possible picks on the internet. Featuring your favorite hosts, Jay Grimm and Jay Wiz.
Yo, welcome back. PayTheMan episode 10. Episode 10. This is big for us here. And why not bring on a UFC bantamweight like Ricky Simone? What's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
No problem. We appreciate you coming on, man. I know you said you usually don't do stuff like this with the MMA media, so we really appreciate you coming on. I just wanted to say that. And I got to say, your pinned post on Twitter has to be one of the most savage things I've ever seen, where mid-fight, you guys are punching each other in the face, and he's like, you look just like me, which, by the way, you guys look identical. And you're like, no, you look like me. I'm older than you. So that was awesome.
Yeah, man, I talk a lot during fights, but that was the first time without fans. So that's something I was a little worried about going into that fight. I'm like, shit, people are going to be able to hear what I'm saying. but it was all good fun. It was fun.
That's a thing. As a fan, like you definitely miss the fans there, you know, the electricity from the crowd. But that's the thing, is you hear each other what they're saying, and you hear the impact a lot more. So it definitely has its pros and cons. And I just wanted to ask you, because you won the Contender Series, right? So how was, you know, did that play in your factor, having some experience with that, or no?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly how I looked at the fight going into it, because I got the Contender Series fight 3 weeks notice. I got that Ray Borg fight 3 weeks notice, and then also, you know, it's going to be in like an arena without any fans, very similar to the Contender Series. Contender Series, you could bring each fighter could bring 5 people with them. That was it. So it's basically no fans, you know. So super intimate setting. So that's exactly how I looked at it.
Yeah. So how was that like, fighting? Because you were in one of the first cards in the quarantine, right? So what was that like training wise, and that whole thing of the uncertainty, knowing what these cards were exactly, if they were going to happen or not?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. It was kind of, we were just playing by ear, trying to figure out, you know, what the process was going to look like, you know, because you don't usually have to show up for fight week and get a bunch of stuff shoved up your nose and, you know, every other day. So, but you know, it wasn't too different. I mean, I just brought some boys out with me. They stayed at my house. We all just stayed together and trained together. Didn't go out and do anything wild, you know. And yeah, the UFC took care of us fight week too. We all got our own training areas, our own car. Usually you share buses, shuttle to the venue, but you know, everyone kind of pushes by themselves. So it wasn't bad.
Yeah. So then I just wanted to bring up, because I know you were supposed to fight Brian Kelleher. That was supposed to be in September. And I know you had an issue where one of your cornermen tested positive, and you said how disappointed you were. So did they give you an opportunity where if you passed the test, you would at least get an option to fight?
No, man. I was fighting with him about that too. I was super upset because you know, a lot goes into these training camps, and that was the second fight that has been canceled due to coronavirus this year. So, you know, I've had 2 other training camps that, you know, we don't show up to fight week, we don't get paid. So, you know, and I go all out for my training camps. You know, this is my life. So, you know, I come across training over like I am right now in California. I spend a lot of money to put myself up, pay all these different coaches, and then when the fight doesn't happen, you know, so of course I was advocating to let me, because I had never failed the test. I've taken 17 COVID tests. I've never failed the test. So I was like, you know, let us both retest, you know, and we both did anyways, even though they said no, and we were both negative the next day, you know. So I think it was, you know, cancel all the false positive, but they're taking all the, you know, they're just being super careful, you know. So it's not like I can be mad, but I was.
I mean, I can't blame you. I understand. I guess they got to take the proper precautions, but if you see it all the time, I mean, you've seen in the NFL with all these false positive tests. I mean, you know, so that must have been frustrating. I understand that.
Yeah, definitely. But we get to run it. We get another chance. You know, January 16th, I get to step in there with Brian Kelleher. You know, this is a fight that I've been going to get because he's brushed the top 15. I've also been in the top 15. You know, I've been sitting right outside. So, and he's super exciting. Like usually I feel like, I'm trying to get that out of my opponent, and I don't think I'll have to do that with Brian. He's a fun fighter. He has a cool personality. We'll have some fun in there.
Yeah, and that's actually the first card of 2021, I believe, right? UFC Fight Night 187. So that should be fun to kick off the year.
Oh shoot, is it really?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
pretty sure it's the first card of the new year.
Oh yeah, we'll start it strong then.
And they didn't announce a location for that one yet, right?
I'm being told Vegas. I better be Vegas.
Oh, so that's a thing. This is actually a betting podcast. So
Oh,
when
shoot.
you're in Vegas, do you ever bet? Are you planning to hit the casinos or what?
I'm not very good. I'm just starting to get into it. I made my first online bet when Cheeto, my boy Cheeto fought Sean O'Malley. I was like, easy money, let's go. So I put a couple hundred on Cheeto and I won some money. So that's the only bet I've made online. I want to get into it more, but I'm stingy with my money, so I need to get good at it first.
I wish I was like you, very stingy with my money, but unfortunately I cannot. I don't know why. It's a problem, but like tonight, we got a fight night tonight. I got money on it. And you know anything about the fights tonight? You like anyone in particular?
You talking main event? Glover.
Santos.
Yeah. Santos Teixeira.
Yeah. I think I got Santos in that one.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, I've been betting against Glover his last few fights, and he's proved me wrong every time. But I don't know. I mean, Santos is hard to bet against. And then I got to go with the mullet man, Bozer. He since I cut mine off, he has the best mullet in the UFC right now. So I got to go with my mullet brother.
I saw you actually retweeted something today about the kid with the mullet.
Which one? What did I do? Oh, yeah. Theo Vaughn tweeted it. Yeah, some kid won. Yeah, I was cracking up at that. Yeah.
Are we gonna see that mullet back anytime soon?
I was thinking maybe with a couple more wins, the hair back of my neck will start growing again. I'm kind of maybe I need some attention or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll grow it back out.
So you're going to be in the first card of 2021, which we talked about. What are your goals for 2021? Would you like to fight, 3-4 times, which we've seen you do in the majority of your career?
Yeah, man, it's brutal for me when I don't fight. When I'm not active, oh man, I'm gonna get into too many shenanigans. They better keep me active. So I'm hoping. I like to get paid. So anywhere from 3 to 5 times next year. That'd be great to make up for this lackluster year.
Right. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on something because the Tuesday Night Contender Series was on Tuesday, and I know you have experience in the Tuesday Night Contender Series. And you're a wrestler. You got a background in wrestling. I feel like obviously the whole point of the Tuesday Night Contender Series is Dana White wants flashy knockouts and stuff like that. He wants people who put on a show and those exciting finishes, and he signs those guys. But I want to get your thoughts as a wrestler. Do you think he should put more stock into people who get the job done, just and wrestle and take down their opponents? Because I feel like he won't even give those guys shots.
Yeah, it's tough. I was a little salty about Contender Series for a while because obviously I fought in there, and I won. It was an exciting fight, but didn't get the contract, and I had to go fight in LFA a couple times for the world title to get signed. So yeah, I think that platform was definitely for a specific style. I think a little bit more flashy, but like I said, I'm stingy with my money. When half my paycheck's on the line, you're not gonna see me go out there and just swing for the fences and close my eyes.
Right.
I'm gonna try to win. I'm gonna do what I'm best at. I'm gonna win, get the other half of my money.
Right.
LFA champ, huh?
LFA champ. Yeah, I had it's crazy. I had a fight right after that Contender Series fight. My buddy Chael Sonnen linked me up with Ed Soares for the president of LFA, and I was desperate. I was thinking about quitting fighting. I was like, man, I cannot get signed. I was just salty. I'm happy with the way things turned out. But I fought Chico Camus my first fight in LFA was for the LFA world title. Fought 8-time UFC veteran Chico Camus. Beat him in a 5-round war. Still didn't get signed. So I had to defend my belt months later. Got a quick knockout, and they're like, all right, if you accept this short notice fight, we'll sign you. But if not, you can jump back on the Contender Series. next summer. So I was like, sign me up for the short notice fight. I'll jump in there.
So you're a guy who came into the UFC after winning a world title, like you said, which is awesome because that never would have happened if you got signed straight to the UFC. So you could take that how you want to. But you fought some of the best guys in the UFC. I mean, you fought a Hall of Famer in Uriah Faber. You fought a guy who fought for the world title in Demetrius Johnson. Now you're fighting a veteran in the sport in Brian Kelleher, who's got over 20 wins, 22 to be exact. I just want to get your thoughts. Who's a guy, past or present, if they could come out of retirement or you could jump in their time era, who's a guy at bantamweight you would like to fight?
At bantamweight. It's funny. Whenever I got asked that question in the past, it was Uriah Faber. But let's not talk about that one. I think honestly, it didn't work out with the first legend, but I would like to fight Frankie Edgar. And that's still a possibility. He's still around. I don't know for how much longer, but I was a big fan of Frankie growing up. I watched him in high school when I was in high school. I watched him fight BJ. So I've even like emulated him a little bit and copied his style. So it'd be cool to get in there and get to mix it up with Frankie Edgar, I think.
His fights against Gray Maynard were some of the greatest fights I've ever seen, man. The amount of times he came back, I mean, unbelievable.
And that's a good example of fights that like why I get so mad when refs are kind of like too early to stop fights, because then you're like kind of robbing us as fans for some of the best fights that have ever happened. If you go in and stop those fights, too early.
Yeah. We actually had John McDessie, a UFC lightweight, and we asked him about the judging. And I know you had a split decision in your last fight, and you openly talked about how you thought that shouldn't have been a split decision. You thought you clearly won that fight. And we talked about, he said it's a thing that you can only take with a grain of salt, right? I mean, my opinion, why not get more judges? Like Joe Rogan always says, you should have 10 judges. You should get, guys who fought in the past. What would your answer be to the problem with judging? Because it changes people's careers,
Yeah, this is something that I'm always like bitching about, complaining, but I don't have the answers for it either, because I'm not sure. But I would like to see more training, more knowledge going into it. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm a professional fighter, and sometimes I'm like, what do they want me to do in there? Like if I have like more numbers, more strikes landed, and more takedowns, like how is it? Is it just like, I don't know, like is it just the damage? Then it's kind of like.
I guess it's tough because everybody, like he said, he wishes they put more credit in defense. He said it's obviously very hard to not get hit. So one guy wants defense to count more, and some people say leg kicks should count more. So it's definitely it's a thing that's subjective. I guess there'll never be a right or wrong answer. But I just wish sometimes, like, why have 3 judges? One time you'll see 30-27 one way, you'll see 30-27 the other way. It's tough,
Yeah, and then some boxes definitely, well, in my opinion, definitely favor the striking. So like jabs will score more than takedowns and submission attempts. So just but it's MMA, this isn't boxing, so.
Right.
Another thing we asked McDessie on the past episode is something that is like my forte, the betting side. Wiz is more of the knowledgeable UFC. That's why he's kind of like running this show a little bit more than we have in the past. But for the betting odds, bringing up your up and coming to your fight, do you look at that? Is that something that plays a role in how you are, like your confidence or whatever?
I don't like searching, but like I get plenty of people who message me what they are and send me what they bet and stuff like that, so I definitely end up seeing it.
So probably like for me, I mean, being an underdog would probably boost my confidence. If you see you're an underdog, you're going out there like, I'm here to like prove a point, or either way, probably.
The times that I was the heavy favorite, the time I lost, anyways. My Titan elephant or my Titan title fight and my favorite fight, I think it was the times I was the highest, like the biggest favorite on the the card in my career, and I lost both those fights. So it don't matter to me either way. I know this is MMA, and anything can happen.
Yeah, one punch can change it.
Oh, that's the thing. In the NFL, you could dominate for 3 quarters, be up 38-3, the game's over. UFC, you got to stay perfect for 3 or 5 rounds, you know?
Yeah.
But where are you now?
So I live in Washington State. I train right across the bridge from Portland, Oregon. But I've been cross training with Timo Yama in Irvine, California. Alex Perez has a world title fight coming up, so he brought me in for his camp. So I went home for a week, but basically been out here for his entire camp. He fights November 21st, so we're just finishing up, and that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. So good luck to him. I just want so a guy who's been a champion at other organizations. You've been in the UFC. You fought a Hall of Famer, like we talked about. I want to get your thoughts on a guy like Israel Adesanya. Had a guy he trains with in the Contender Series, and he said like nobody wants to hold Mitch for this guy. And now you're training, helping a guy get ready for a title fight. You said, what's the biggest thing you've noticed in these organizations?
Oh man, I think is these boys the one who do like the kids and do like the little spin, bro. That had me dying. The little spin at the end. Oh man. Sorry, man. I was just thinking about that while
No,
you're saying, but are you saying the major difference between the organizations I fought in?
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Dude, the UFC just like it's not even comparable, bro. Like I fought the fight before, I was fighting for the LFA world title. Still broke. Still not making no money. I'm fighting in a blown up tent, basically, like, I fought for a world title for Titan, it's just different. It's just a different level, different pay scale. The way they treat you, you feel like a professional athlete. I never felt like a professional athlete before,
Would you say it's a thing of obviously you're getting the best professionals in the world, but what would have you noticed the most? The speed? Is it a power thing?
Everyone's good. Like, you already know that, but like at the top of all the regional promotions, like I was saying, like Titan and LFA, those you're fighting like you're fighting guys who you could easily be fighting in the UFC.
Right.
You look at my last few opponents, like before I got signed, like let's get some of them were UFC or Bellator vets. So you're just not getting paid the same to fight them.
Right. Now you said after the Tuesday Night Contender Series fight, you thought about possibly quitting. If you had to take a different route, what would you be doing today?
I don't know, man. I literally choose to get punched in the face. I don't have to do anything. So I try. I went to college for a couple of years. Like I did fine, but like I was just like antsy every time I was in class. I was like, hey, I need to be in jiu-jitsu. Someone's getting better than me. I need to be in boxing. I need to be on a run. So I don't know. Like I'm not that young bug anymore. I don't know. I'm 28 now. For the longest time I was like the young up and coming kid. I've been in the UFC for a couple of years now, and I don't know. I don't know.
You're still young, man. I mean, look at Glover Teixeira. He's 41, fighting in the main event tonight.
He got signed to the UFC a little bit later, though, but he's been in it for a grip. I feel like those guys in the higher weight classes, I don't think some of them stick around a little bit longer. It seems that way.
Look at Alistair Overeem.
Why is that? You think it's just like, is it just less guys that are that big going, choosing the MMA route?
You think it could be a speed thing?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm always super interested in these like heavyweight matchups, like tonight I get with Tanner and Orlovsky, right? Because like usually you see like the young guy do pretty good within the one round, but then I feel like after the one round, like especially for heavyweights, it usually leans in favor of like the older guy who has more experience in there.
Well, that happened in Overeem's last fight. Who did Overeem just fight? Not Rosenstrike. The fight after Walt Harris. Who's his most recent fight? As you're looking that up, but he lost the first round, and he came back and won, I think, the second, third, and got the finish. I think you're looking that up.
I'm looking it up right now. It wasn't Harris?
No, he beat Harris in the first round. He stopped Harris where he got dropped. Well, that fight too, he got dropped, and then he came back and finished the fight. But then
Saki.
I
almost
think
finished it.
Saki,
Augusto.
Saki looked good in the first round, and he came back and won. And now he's fighting Rosenstrike again. So maybe he's got one more run in him, you know. And then look at Anderson Silva. The guy's 45 years old and just retired. So who knows? Maybe he'll be fighting at 45.
Shit, I hope not. Damn.
He wants to be retired, chilling by 40.
Yeah, I think I wasted all my. I started wrestling super young in elementary school, so I always joke around that I wasted my good years wrestling. I'm all
So-
beat up.
As a wrestler, I just want to get your thoughts on the Khabib Gaethje fight, because there's a lot of debate right now on Gaethje's wrestling, because he had the credentials, and then everybody's saying maybe we gave him too much credit going into that fight.
You know, it's just different. One thing he said before was like, he said he's like, I'm not good off my back, but I'm good at getting off my back. You know, and like at this point, like everyone's like almost a black belt. You know, damn, how you gonna say you're fighting for a world title? You're not good off your back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you see Khabib take him down and go straight to mount. It's like, all right, either you know, like I'm not. And then also it's Khabib, so you could say all that, but at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, Khabib does that to everybody. So
Yeah. So I just want to ask you one more question for a guy who's younger and thinking about getting into MMA, because you're starting to see a lot more people, rather than go to the NFL, rather than the MLB, they're starting to say, I want to become an MMA fighter. What would your advice be for them, a guy who wants to just get started? Would it be starting wrestling, jiu-jitsu? Where would you recommend getting started?
it depends on when they're getting started. If they're like, you know, like already in their 20s, like you got to do it all. You're already behind, you know, because you got like guys start wrestling like I did super young, or taekwondo or jiu-jitsu. Really, you gotta have a base, and I think the best base is wrestling, because you can dictate where the fight goes. But obviously, you need to be able to like throw kicks and punches and everything. So it's really you got to be ready to like totally like be in the world and cover all your bases. And one thing I think I read Forrest Griffin's book when I was an amateur. And he said, I remember reading him say that you need to practice the practice that you don't want to go to. You need to go to that one more, you know. So like
Right.
that practice for me has changed throughout the years. Sometimes I didn't want to go to jiu-jitsu or kickboxing, you know, and so I just forced myself to go to that practice even more. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's more of a. It's definitely more of a sport now, so you got to have all your bases covered. You got to have a strength and conditioning coach, boxing coach, head coach. You know, like it's just there's a lot to it.
That's a good point, because you used to see these guys who used to really specialize in one thing, whether it was wrestling, jiu-jitsu. Now you're seeing guys who really are good at everything. Like, because if you realize it's crazy, because MMA has been around basically my whole life, 21 years now. So now you're getting people who like were born into mixed martial arts, and now they're training their whole thing. Like John Jones, if you look at John Jones's wrestling, you know, it used to be real good for UFC. Now you see people are starting to catch on, you know, like a guy who specializes in that. So it's definitely a good point.
Yeah, my little brother, 12-year-old brother, is running double legs and then boom, spinning, throwing elbows off of him. And so I was like, damn, chill out. You know, like these kids are gonna be good, you know?
That's awesome. That's crazy. Now he gets to look up to you throughout his whole career.
Yeah. He said he's gonna whip my butt when he turns 16. We have a bet right now. We have a bet for my car.
Oh
That's
my
all.
God.
When you were his age, was there any fighters that you kind of looked up to or inspired by?
Yeah, when I was coming up, it was like in Team Quest's heyday, which is right there from where I'm at, you know, 45 minutes from my house. We'd be in that area a lot. We'd stop by, you know. I met Randy Couture when I was 8 or 9. Randy Couture was a big one for me, you know, because he was a wrestler, champion. And then also Diego Sanchez, just because he was crazy. That was like my favorite season Ultimate Fighter. You know, I think I was like 12 when that was going on. And just seeing him screaming. Awesome. And yeah, that's like, I was like super shy and like kind of like quiet, but like that's how I felt inside. But Diego was all crazy. So like, yeah, so that's how I like to fight too. So
it's crazy that you're still watching a fight and you're a professional now.
Yeah, I actually got it. Before I got signed to the UFC, I went and stayed at Cowboys Place. My buddy Pat Healy took me. We stayed a few weeks over at Cerrone's place, and I got to spar with Sanchez, and that was like a surreal moment for me, because we're like, you know, he didn't know who I was at all, and he's just trying to kill me, and I'm just sitting there like smiling, like trying to wrestle with him and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on, man, and we wish you the best of luck, and we're excited for your next fight. And who knows, maybe we'll throw some money on it.
Definitely gonna throw some money on it after this one.
Yeah, hell yeah, guys. Even though I think Kelleher's from the East Coast. You guys are from the East Coast, right?
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, I think he's from that area. So I'm trying to grow my fan base out.
Yeah, we got you, man. Don't worry about it. Although you said the best coast. Although you said the best.
You caught me right before sparring. My shit talking was already running through. So.
But anyways, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, and we're excited for you in 2021.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. That was fun.
No problem. Have a good one, man. Appreciate it.